wisdom is to be sought after, not just by those who are in authority, but by all figures. And we come to the book of Proverbs in order to see, number one, how unwise we are and our desperate need for wisdom, but then two, to see the Christocentric idea behind that, which is that Christ is wisdom itself. Morality is not really just there for the common man. Morality is for everybody. We all need to seek after what God has intended mankind to be in. This idea that not only is morality, but also each family is kind of their own island. They can raise their kids however they want, and we shouldn't, desire to butt in or impose our will upon them. Of course, we don't want to fall into some type of authoritarianism, but there is moral absolutes. We would all, I think, agree that if a husband and a wife were to teach their child to lie, that would be something that would be immoral. If they were to teach their child to cheat on schoolwork, that would be something that would be immoral. That there is indeed a spiritual science out there that is supposed to help us, and the book of Proverbs is key to it. Wisdom and instruction is two facets of great truth that we need in order to operate. Number one, wisdom in the intellect, knowing what is right and wrong, right? We have to comprehend what is right and wrong first, and then instruction with our will, putting these things into practice. Now, again, not with our will, if you will, uninhibited by God's grace. It's always going to be God's grace that's going to move us into not only knowing wisdom, but then choosing to do those things which are wise. So Proverbs is useful for knowing what is true as well as for living out that said truth. It's very easy for us to kind of just look at this podcast or that podcast or read this work or that work and be carried to fro and everywhere by the cunningness of different authors, when we in fact need to be grounded in what does God say himself? What does God say in his divine revelation? What does God say in scripture? This is the mentality we need. We can also, of course, in secondary senses say, okay, how has the Church of God throughout time interpreted this? What are the writings of the church fathers say on this, that, or the other subject? What are the writings of the ecumenical councils say on this? What are the confessions of faith, right? We need to understand good doctrine, and that is where wisdom is going to be key. Instruction, when we're instructed in wisdom and proper instruction, we're able to practice virtue by God's grace. We're able to live lives of patience. We're able to live lives of chastity. We're able to live lives of holiness, which is very important. Wisdom and instruction, the proper formation of the intellect as well as of the will, is going to be found through the study and the meditation of Scripture. That's the first thing we have to understand. We have to understand that as we're going to go through this book of Proverbs, we need to study our scriptures. We need to study the words of God, right? We, of course, need to study other things, right? We need to study the writings of the ecumenical councils and of the various fathers of the church, etc., great theologians. But first and foremost, the writings of Holy Writ, because we know that God inspired them, and that's where true wisdom and instruction is to be found. All right, my friends, hopefully that made sense to you guys, and hopefully you can be blessed through that. Until next time, my friends, may God bless every one of you. Take care.